Unfortunately for me, growing up, I never got to play Advanced Wars. I think I would have really liked that game. Especially nowadays, where I am really into turn-based tactic games. Not to mention the beautiful pixel artwork and all the work and thought and real good tactics that comes from Advanced Wars. But, to counterpoint that, I did play Battalion. Battalion is essentially a series exactly like Advanced Wars, bar a couple differences here and there that I'm probably not aware of. They're there, I just don't know about them. Unfortunately, Battalion as a series is a dead series. The company that created it has gone under. This is an old game. This is like 8 or 9 years old. If you can look at the tiny copyright symbol right at the bottom corner there. So any later games that exist, multiplayer function and map sharing do not exist. But because the games are solid enough as is, the entire series is worth checking out. And we are going to be checking out Battalion Nemesis, the first one. It might not have the cleanest of the artwork from the series, but it is still a beautiful start, and I'm excited to get started. So, how do we play this game? Well, being that it is a turn-based, grid-based tactics game, there is a lot of thought you have to put in to winning this game. Later levels can get really difficult, especially if you put the AI to hard. The AI in this game is really difficult, and it's really well done, so bravo to you. But, for the most part, your turn is going to go relatively easy. To start, let's talk about where we start. This is our base. All the red structures are ours. Each structure has its own unique thing to it, but what you really have to know is that this, if you can see, if you use your mouse and click on, well, basically any tile, you're going to get information. But if we click on the command center, we know that this is where we are. This is the main force of our force. If this falls, we lose the match, or mission, whichever format you're going with. The things around it, like this ground control area, lets you be able to spawn in ground units through, down here, the War Factory. Now, we're not going to talk about the War Factory just yet, so keep that in your hat for later. The refineries that we see are your money creation thing that helps you create things from your war refinery. So, in, tactics fashions, you get your buildings down, they generate you money, that money will generate you units, those units win the war for you. Or hopefully win the war for you. Now, speaking of those units, we have many units to go through later on. There's land, air, sea, and probably some special ones. I don't know. I haven't gotten terribly far, being that this is quite difficult. But, let's start simple. Let's start with just land units. We have a pretty decent selection to start with. Our Strike Commando is our human element here. They don't move very far. They're not the strongest of guys, but they can capture enemy and idle places. So, yay, they are the only ones that can do that. No tanks or other stuff can do. Speaking of tanks, we have tanks, and Gatling guns, and rocket launchers, and many other things. They all have their own stats and their damages and what they're good against. So you have to keep that in mind when going through and fighting. But luckily there is some, what's the word I'm thinking of? UI. It's not technically a word. There are some UI helping tips in the gameplay that make it a little bit more reasonable. Then, of course, you have the rocket truck. That basically is your far shooting thing that is really, really, really good. But it's very, very weak. So if a tank rolls up and shoots you in the face, you're probably going to go down in one hit. But you can hit from afar, so hopefully it doesn't get too close. Now that we know what is going on in the board, let's take a look at the board. Being that this is grid-based, we start with quite a small board here. Early level and whatnot. The enemy base has its base, but it's being, guarded by an Annihilator tank. That's scary. Along the way, it's got some roads that we can follow, which actually do speed up, I believe, movement, or at least lets you go stuff. The ground and everything else does matter, but we'll get into that when we actually talk about tactics. And, they've got a good supply of enemies, along with this air control little outpost thingy. They're not doing anything with it, but, we can, if we capture it. That being said, though, we have to get there first, and that's where we're going to start. So, with our little commando here, we have its movement in green, which you can go over with your mouse. You can't really go... well, you can go through your own units, but you can't stand on your own units. So keep that in mind. If we move him to this little white area here, we'll start capturing it for ourselves, again, making money. If we go over here, we start capturing it from our opponent. So that's actually probably a good thing to do. It takes a couple turns to capture it, though, so keep that in mind. We want our tank to start going up to the front. We're going to have that being followed by this tank. And then this guy doesn't move very far, but it's the setup phase, so we don't really need to have him move very far. We do need him in a good position, though, so we'll keep that in mind. Now, being that we have some cash, it says here in our red team thing, over by the right, we have a sizable amount of cash, about even with the blue team. We can then go over to our war factory. I was trying to think of the word that this was, and that's why I was slowing down. So, we have some options, because each turn, if you have the cash, you can create a unit. Now, choosing which unit to pick is where the tactics-y stuff comes in, and replayability of winning or losing. We can start with some ground units, which actually would be pretty good, because we actually have to capture a few key points at the moment. So I'm probably going to have a heavy commando, because they can actually do some good stuff against tanks, and that's what we're up against. We have our flak guns, which are good against armored units. Let's see, it strikes down aircraft and lightly armored units, which the ground troops are lightly. So this thing shreds ground troops and is able to shoot people in the air. So when you're fighting air stuff, keep that in mind. The tank is just a really good thing. And then this thing right here is a mortar truck, which is awesome, but it's very expensive, and I don't think I want to put as much cash into this right now when we are just setting up. So let's go with Heavy Commando. That spawns it in. Can't use it at the moment. That's all of our stuff. We now end the turn and watch the AI go. And the AI, like I said earlier, is actually kind of smart. So they will do their best to destroy you. I have it on medium at the moment, because I think it's the best one. If you want to be, what's the word I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of a lot of words today. If you want to be psychotic, it's not the word, but it's close enough. You can turn it up to hard. Don't. Right, okay. This is a good opportunity here to take out this long-range guy. Luckily, like I said, they're very weak. But this guy is now in the open. Oh, by the way, I think I forgot to mention this, but it's probably really, really easy to understand. Everything is used with left-click. You just left-click on an enemy, you can get their information. Left-click on your own people, and you get information. Left-click on the ground. Anywhere on the ground, and it gives you tactical information. Yeah, see, roads here help things move along quicker, but no defensive things. Fields, a little bit of defense. Forest and mountains, get some good cover. Mountains, really hard to go across, but still. Also, in the top right, we have the mini-map here. If we just click and drag along the yellow box, we can move the map around, so it's pretty easy to move around. Also, you can just go to the edge of the screen, but I usually find that not as quick. But that's just my preferences. Alright, so this guy has yet to finish capturing that area, so we will leave him be. I will talk about the green bits that come up from those guys later. We're going to move this guy into position here. And, okay, so this is a good opportunity for good UI explanation. Right here, we have our tank, and it can move up from its green squares to here. But you can only move, you can move and shoot or just move with all of your pieces. So if I wanted to move, I'd just click on this green square here, where the tank is right now, or I would click on one of the adjacent enemies in order to move and shoot. Now, choosing which one, tactically you'll want to probably figure that out on your own, but for a little bit of encouragement, we have the plus and equal sign. That means we're going to do, for the plus, added damage, because we're strong against it, and it's in an unsavory place, because, you know, roads don't have cover, it's on a road. Or we can shoot for the equal sign, which will, you know, we're about even. It'll do damage to us as much as we'll kind of do it to it. So we definitely want to shoot for the plus person. So let's do that right now. Move. Shoot. Yay. Tactics. So, now that we went up, shot the guy, they shoot back. Pretty standard stuff, but you will notice the health difference of them having a lot less health now that we had the much wanted advantage on them, and we, you know, lost some health on that. So we're in good standings to take care of that thing, the Gatling flak cannon, pretty well. We also, since we have our tank bazooka dude, we might want to move him in a another favorable position. Favorable. Syllables. Trying to think of seashells by the seashore. Talking. Anyway, we actually are going to take this unit and head him into the mountains, because land units can actually go through high terrain like this. So they'll be able to cut across these mountains and give us a tactical advantage. Tanks can't do that. They can go through road, grassland, trees, hills, nothing else. So, with that being said, though, he's going to need a buddy, so we're going to create another one of those, and that is my turn all set up. Alright. Doom truck is moving closer and closer. Wonderful. So, the guy that we shot is not attacking, it is repairing. Repairing is an option that you can do if you double-click, if you click once and then click again on a unit. This is where the green little things come up. Yay! Perfectly timed explanations. So, the wrench is obviously a repair tool. if you click it, your tank or whatever you're repairing does not move, but it does gain health when the next turn comes. But it does not move, so you might want to consider moving it a turn ahead before actually, repairing it, or else it'll stay out in the open. At this moment, this map does not, allow, but you can take your stuff and move it into the ocean for, getting across oceans, and then, of course, just the cancel to not do anything with that thing. Being that this is, in a yellow state, this can probably take care of this tank that's repairing, but first, let's get there we go. Let's get that ranged out. Oh, I accidentally clicked on, repair, speaking of leaving your enemy, yourself out in the open. Oops! Well, we're gonna want to make another tank, because that's gonna die. Speaking of which, I want to move this closer to the ranged guy, so it can actually have a good pick-off of things. This guy is going to move over here, and in 2 turns he'll get his stuff. I want to move here, and I'm going to move here, and being that I'm going to lose a tank, I think it's pretty wise to make another tank, and that, I believe, is my end of my turn. So they keep going, and they're coming at me. See, and because I am wait, am I repairing? Was it the guy in front of me that was... No, wait. Yeah, no. Because I am repairing, I do not get to return fire. Was I repairing, or did I just completely skip that guy's turn? Well, whatever the case may be, it goes on to the final point that I should try and make, which is, as you can see, we have very unfavorable attacking things to everyone else, because health matters your strength. Or strength is determined by how healthy your tanks are. See, now that I'm a very weak tank here, I'm not going to do a lot of damage, but a fully healthed up tank or other unit will do more damage. So keep that in mind when making your assault, because if you send in a whole bunch of weak tanks, you're going to get slaughtered. And I don't want to get slaughtered, so we're just going to send that guy right on back. This guy does not have an angle on anything, so we will keep you there. We're going to actually move this guy here. I have a plan. I do have a plan. We want this tank to get its ass in gear and get over here. This guy can move like this. This guy can move like this. This little unit over here has the same idea I had, which is how I figured out how to do that idea. It's like I played this before. Right, and then we're going to probably want a little land unit to help us out. This guy is unfortunately not going to do anything. That is my turn. Ow! Oh shit. Didn't protect it well enough. Also, my plan is completely falling apart now. So here's the thing. This guy's a ranged unit. Can't hit things that's right next to him. So he's in trouble. That's not good. That's about even. This guy needs to get the fuck out of there. Land unit moves like so. This guy, unfavorable attack, but we're going to move him like so. We're going to take this guy, unfavorable attack again, but we're going to move him like so, so we can actually get, I'm going to get a mortar truck now, because I need some range. And, alright, I can't repair because I have no cash. Because I spent it all on a mortar truck. This isn't good. I thought I would have this in the bag. Oh good, he didn't go over the ranged guy. Okay, that is going over me now. And the big tank is... Oh dear. This is not going as I thought it would. Tactics. This guy is screwed. And I accidentally pressed... Okay, well... As you may or may not be able to tell, I'm ballsing this up right now, but it does go to show that this game is really, really good, and it is very tactics-based and driven, and you can screw up very easily. So, yeah. Shoot that thing. That guy can go away. That... Oh, he's not tearing fire, so I can just destroy that. These guys are... not doing too well. I don't think I'm going to win this. Which is unfortunate. Next available unit. No one else? Ugh. Oh, that guy's dead. Oh! Well, that was something I didn't realize could happen. I guess because they have the air structure, they can, transport the guy and the thing and the... Right, so this has been, Battalion Nemesis. The link to it will be in the description below. Oh shit, the mortar truck is powerful. The link to this game will be in the description below. My name's Ben Dark Arts, and hopefully you have a better chance of winning this war, although I am coming back from it. Yay, and I can repair you. Can I get any more people? Let's get a strike commando. Oh god. So much blood. There's just so much blood on the battlefield. Oh god, the big gun is coming, and the airship, and the... Yeah, I'm just gonna call it quits and say my entire regime has been wiped out.